ready, we will crack on with Tim Thornton from Sky Sports News. Go ahead, Tim.
Hi, Josh. You okay?
Thanks.
A cruel end to the day for Joe Root, but can you start by just putting into words that incredible knock from the skipper today?
Yeah, quite amazing innings. To back up his double hundred in the first test, both physically and mental, to show the application, to go and do it again today. It's been a masterclass really in batting against spin. It's been a great education for all of us, I think, watching on from the sidelines, and we thoroughly enjoyed watching him and gutted for him to get out in that fashion at the end of the day.
He spent so much time out in the middle already in this series. Does it become as much about physical endurance as anything else? Yeah,
absolutely. For all the 8 days of cricket so far, he's pretty much been on the field. So I think especially in this game, it seems a lot hotter. It feels a lot more draining than the first game, with those rain breaks as well. So I think we have to not just praise the tactical and technical aspects of his game, but the physicality and concentration to apply himself for so long. Once again, to back up the first test is quite amazing, really.
You played really well for your 55. In the end, a little bit frustrated with the bizarre nature of the dismissal.
Yeah, a little bit. There's disappointing way to get out, and obviously had a close call with one of those earlier on in the innings as well. So, but I enjoyed batting. I enjoyed trying to get a partnership going with the captain and trying to get us up towards Sri Lanka's score. So, enjoyed the time in the middle.
Thanks, Jos. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go with Rory, please.
Hi, Jos. You've shown us over the years some pretty spectacular shots and improvisations. I just wondered what you made of Joe's pretty good version of the switch hit today. He was adding that to his armoury from the last test.
Yeah, he was. Quite amazing shots, really. Shows the confidence and the skill level is amazing. I think he even played a little late cut left-handed as well today. So it's been great to watch. His skill level is second to none, really.
And when you were batting with him, Jos, it seemed like he'd already started to flag a bit in the heat. What were the chats? I don't know what you know about what he was going through physically and what he was saying.
No, he was doing well, I think, when I was with him. I think obviously he batted for so long in the first game as well. As I was just saying, it certainly feels hotter and more draining this game. So to have fielded 130 overs or whatever it was, and then bat for all of our innings pretty much. It's an incredible effort physically, and but his drive and determination to take the team forward and play so well, it's been a pleasure to watch, really.
Okay, we'll go with Dean and then John.
Hi, Jos. Well played. Do you know how hot it actually was out there? Obviously, it looks hot from here, but do you know what the figures were?
No, I don't actually know, to be honest. But it's definitely very hot and draining.
Would you say it's the hottest kind of conditions that you faced as a player? Obviously, you've played Australia and India and all over the world, but it can't be much hotter than Sri Lanka.
No, certainly I'd say Sri Lanka is as challenging conditions as we face. So I think that just adds to the magnitude of the efforts of Ruti's innings. Both, they say, technically, tactically, and physically is an amazing effort.
And when you know that you're going to be batting in those conditions, how do you prepare yourself for it? We saw Dan Lawrence knock back a banana. It didn't last too long, but what do you take on board, and how do you prepare to get your body right for a day out in the middle like that?
Yeah, obviously, fueling correctly is a big part of that. We're very lucky that Emma, our nutritionist, is out here in Sri Lanka as well, and she's brilliant at getting the right information to people about just how much they need to eat or drink, and what things to be taking on and when. So that's played a big part, I think, in the performance so far. It's been a great help for everyone to have her here and guiding that side of things, because know the effects it can have on performance. So that's been a big plus, I'd say.
Thanks.
Okay, John Etheridge.
Jos, hi. But by his own standards, last year was a relatively modest year for Joe. He didn't make a Test 100. Have you sensed a kind of renewed determination this year to start scoring those huge number of runs again?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. Certainly felt like, having watched him in the first that warm-up game we had in between ourselves, he was playing beautifully and he looked hungry and determined, and I know he's spoken a lot about that and the high standards he sets for himself. I think that's talk about his underperforming is pretty good for most others, but he certainly sits at the top table of cricketers in the world, and the standards he sets himself and drives on to achieve is what makes him so good. And certainly that hunger to back up a double 100 in the first game to go and score another massive 100 just shows I think where he's at with his game. I think he's certainly enjoyed the time and work he's put into his game technically, and probably having knowing how much he loves batting, having not been able to bat for a while and missing the one-day tour in South Africa getting cancelled. He looks hungry to spend time in the middle.
Jos, could I just ask you about India? I think most people expect you to miss the last 2 tests rather than the last 3 in India. Could you just explain the thinking behind that decision, please?
Yeah, I think like for most people, having discussions with the selectors and the coaches, that's been important to try and find gaps for people, and no one wants to miss games, but I think the ECB and the everyone looking after player welfare in such strange times, obviously with the pandemic, and in such a busy calendar for English cricket this year is important. So that's why.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, last one, Andrew Miller, please.
Hi, Jos. Obviously, Joe's come into the crease 3 innings running now, with the openers having failed, and obviously really tough conditions for them to try and practice their game. But I mean, what are you making of the struggles that perhaps the younger players are having to deal with these conditions, especially in light of India, and what can they learn from watching Joe up close like that?
Yeah, I think not just young players, old players, people watching at home can learn a lot from watching Joe Root bat against spin. The changing room is right behind those guys. So only a couple of innings, and having to start your innings against spin is a different proposition. And they've been putting in an immense amount of work in the nets, and it's very important that those guys continue to trust their game. And once you get through that initial period, it does certainly change and things become more comfortable. And we've seen, for people on both sides, once you get in, there's runs to be had on these surfaces. And so those boys are working hard. Everyone's right behind them. I'm sure everything clicking is only just around the corner.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.